Let me begin with the problem that the U.S. Military Academy at West Point has. Until the 1980s, a graduate of West Point was more likely than not to spend the rest of his life as an Army officer. He would stay at it, he would stay in, he would retire at the end of a career. Beginning in the 1980s, things shifted. You can leave the Army after a West Point career after 5 years. But before the 80s, practically nobody did. Now, a huge number do. That's a problem. The Army doesn't really make their money back with them leaving after 5 years. And more importantly, they need the career military officers. So the Army figured out they were leaving, and so they came up with an idea. We'll offer a bonus to stay in. Classic extrinsic motivation. And you know what? A bunch of officers took it, and it cost the Army a fortune. The ones who took it would have stayed in anyway. The ones who didn't take it left, just like they were. What's the problem? The problem is that the Army was wanting everybody to specialize in a particular place. They told them what they would be doing in their career, and we now live in a knowledge era. And it is no longer an era of extrinsic motivation, it is intrinsic motivation. And people do this for a while, and then they want to do that for a while. And the subtitle of this book, the book is Range, the subtitle is Why Generalists Triumph in a Specialized World. And I'm just going to go ahead and tell you, this is the best book I've read in a long time. This is a great book. So what is this book? Well, it's a career path book. It's a parenting book. It's a book about educating children and adults. Note, everybody circle this, slow learning is the best learning. Slow learning is the best learning. This is a book on how to get better at decision making. Oh my goodness, the stuff in this book about decision making. It says if you get a group of people to make a decision and they all have the same mindset and they all have the same data and there is nobody in the room with different data and different experience, you're going to have worse decisions when it's a tough decision to make. So it's really provocative there. This is a book about how to get better at coming up with breakthrough innovations. Outsiders come up with breakthrough innovations. This is a book about how to get better at problem identification and problem solving. If everybody's a specialist, they too quickly define the problem inadequately. This is a book about the pluses of narrow expertise and the minuses of narrow expertise. And so now turn to page 12. Some lessons and takeaways. Number one, read broadly. And read very widely. Many things to read. Frances Hasselbein devoured management books because she became a manager in her 60s and didn't know how to manage. Ed Catmull of Pixar did the same. And so number 5, in other words, get serious about becoming an accomplished generalist. Let me pause. If you've never done it, go back and read Roger Ebert's review of Dances with Wolves. And at the end of that review, he has a line. He used this periodically. He would never say this is the best movie of the year, but he said at the end of the review of Dances with Wolves, this is one of the year's best movies. This is one of the year's best books. I loved reading it, and I highly recommend it. Hope you found this useful. Thank you very much.